The main part of the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone lies between the Pripyat and Uz rivers. This world, hidden behind barbed wire, harbors deadly radiation hazards and great beauty. Our exploration of the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone starts with the picturesque Uz River. The river is 256 kilometers long. Despite the radiation contamination, the nature here is very beautiful. The wildlife of the Chernobyl zone is stunning, with stunning landscapes and an abundance of plants and animals. The Uz River flows from west to east and joins the Pripyat River near the town of Chernobyl. The Pripyat River is the largest river in the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. The river flows through the whole Chernobyl zone and is the main source of radionuclides. The bottom of the Pripyat River, in its muddy sediments, concentrates a significant part of the radioactive substances that entered the environment from the fourth destroyed reactor of the nuclear power plant. On the banks of the Pripyat River stand abandoned port cranes. These rusty and radioactive steel giants have been standing here for more than 30 years. Radiation levels here are very high. Sergei Paskovich, a senior researcher at the Institute for Security Problems of Ukraine, has been working in Chernobyl for more than 20 years. Together with other scientists, he studies how nature recovers under conditions of heavy radiation contamination.
The river port of Pripyat was used to deliver construction materials when the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was built. After the accident, a dam was built to stop radionuclides flowing into the Pripyat River. Today, it's a closed reservoir, which is very popular with birds. We can also see the fish splashing around in the river. It is a quiet, peaceful, radioactive place in Chernobyl.
Some of the radioactive material discharged from the destroyed nuclear reactor has fallen into the Pripyat River and lakes in the Chernobyl zone. The most contaminated water bodies in the Chernobyl zone are within a radius of 10 kilometers from the nuclear power plant. Some 3,000 Curies of cesium-137 and 600 Curies of strontium-90 have accumulated at the bottom of the Pripyat River. Fish and amphibians live in these radioactive waters, which are 4,000 times more contaminated than permitted.
The radiation background here is between 60 and 400 micro-Röntgen per hour. That's a lot. many times higher than in other contaminated places in the exclusion zone. But as it turns out, the radiation factor has little effect on animal life. Basically, animal life depends on the availability of food and the lack of human influence. But not from radiation, which is very strong in this place.
The whole territory of the Chernobyl zone is saturated with a network of small rivers and lakes. During spills, the Pripyat River collects radioactive substances from the contaminated areas. Its slow and quiet course carries further radioactive strontium and cesium. With the first rays of sunshine, local resident, self-settler of the Chernobyl zone, Grandpa Ivan, goes fishing. In a wooden boat, with a spinning rod in his hands, he celebrates his 80th birthday. We join Grandpa Ivan for a boat trip to the Pripyat River Delta. Fishing in the exclusion zone is prohibited by Ukrainian law. But we, together with scientists, will fish in the Pripyat River exclusively for scientific purposes. The self-settlers of the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, in spite of their age, often practice fishing. To such self-settlers as Grandfather Ivan, the administration of the zone treats loyally. The inhabitants of the abandoned villages of Chernobyl are allowed to catch not more than 10 kilograms of fish for food. The self-settlers are not at all frightened by the fact that the level of radionuclides in the Pripyat River fish exceeds permissible norms tenfold. Biologists and radioecologists conduct research on the species composition of fish and mollusks living in water bodies of the Chernobyl zone. Many specimens of fish caught in the Pripyat River have high levels of contamination and exceed permissible norms 10 or even 100 times. The main radionuclides contained in fish are cesium and strontium. These radionuclides are known to accumulate in living organisms, and their presence in fish and amphibians poses a potential health risk to those who consume them. Studies have shown that the levels of radioactive contamination in the fish and amphibians in the Pripyat River are still elevated, even decades after the disaster. This is due to the fact that radioactive materials have a long half-life, which means that they remain in the environment for a long time. Despite the potential health risks associated with consuming contaminated fish and amphibians, there are still some people who fish in the Pripyat River and consume the catch. It is important to note that consuming contaminated fish and amphibians can have serious health consequences, including an increased risk of cancer and other radiation-related illnesses. The untouched nature of the Pripyat River Delta is stunningly beautiful. The wide floodplain with numerous islands and overgrown sandy banks has created ideal living conditions for plants and wildlife. Many species of birds, insects, and amphibians find shelter here. More than 40 species of fish live in the murky, radioactive waters of the river. Over the years, the Pripyat River Delta has become a unique ecological site. In the absence of human activity, nature has taken control of the area, and a diverse ecosystem has developed here. The area has become a haven for rare and endangered species, making it a unique place for wildlife enthusiasts. There are many islands in the Pripyat River Delta, each with its own unique charm and character. These islands have become a symbol of nature's resilience as they emerged and developed over the years following the disaster. "35 years after the accident at the Chernobyl nuclear plant, in the picturesque landscapes of the Chernobyl zone, it is difficult to see even a hint of the terrible tragedy that took place here 35 years ago. The nature here is striking in its abundance of plants and animals. Nowadays, it is a natural reserve, a unique scientific ground for studying the impact of radiation on living organisms and assessing the consequences of major ecological disasters. The wildlife of the Chernobyl zone has conquered the territories left by humans and created exceptional living conditions for wild animals.